A vault was opened in heaven 7 seconds ago with your name on it, and the timer has already started counting down. Do not scroll. Do not skip. Do not do what you have been doing to every sacred moment that has tried to reach you for the last 6 months. This is not another message. This is an open vault, unlocked by my own hand, filled with everything I have been storing for you, and operating on a timer that does not pause because you are distracted. The door is open right now, but it will not stay open. I sent Archangel Michael to deliver this interruption, because normal methods have not been reaching you. I have whispered and you were too busy. I have nudged and you scrolled past. I have arranged divine moments in your path, and you walked over them without looking down, because the speed at which you move through your life has made you blind to what heaven keeps placing at your feet. This is not a whisper. This is an alarm. Inside this vault is everything you have been praying for, some of it for years. Answers that were completed long ago, but never collected. Blessings that were packaged with your name, but never picked up. Restoration that was finished in the heavenly realm and has been sitting behind a door, waiting for the one person with the authority to step through it. That person is you, and the door is open. But the timer is not emotional. It is structural. The vault operates on a window, a specific opening created by the alignment of your readiness and heaven's timing. That alignment exists right now, in this moment, and the seconds you spend debating whether this is real are seconds being subtracted from the time you have to step inside. Stay here. What I reveal next is what is inside the vault, and why heaven is begging you not to miss it this time. Type 7 if something inside you just stopped, and for the first time in months, you feel like heaven is speaking directly and urgently to you. Before we go any further, I need to tell you something that genuinely surprised me. A neuroscientist discovered a simple 7-second technique that actually rewires how your brain processes thoughts. And when I tried it, the difference was almost unsettling. My focus sharpened, ideas started connecting faster, and that mental fog, gone. This isn't manifestation nonsense. It's backed by real brain science, and thousands of people are already seeing results. But here's the catch. 5 spots are left. If something inside you is saying, try it, trust that instinct, click the link in the description or pinned comment before it's too late. The timer is not a punishment. It is proof of how desperately heaven wants you to receive this before the window closes. A vault without a timer stays open indefinitely, and a door that stays open indefinitely gets ignored indefinitely, because the human heart treats unlimited access as no access at all. You postpone what has no deadline. You delay what has no expiration. And the blessings that sit behind permanently open doors become the blessings you never collect, because tomorrow always feels like a safer time to step through. I put the timer on the vault because I know your pattern, and your pattern is delay, not rebellion, not rejection. Delay, the quiet, habitual, almost unconscious habit of receiving a divine moment and filing it under later. You feel the nudge, and you think I will come back to this. You sense the opening, and you whisper not right now. And by the time later arrives, the vault has closed, and the alignment that created the opening has shifted. And what was available in that window requires an entirely new configuration of circumstances to become available again. Some configurations do not repeat. I need you to understand what is happening in the spiritual realm at this exact moment. Archangel Michael is standing at the door of your vault, not guarding it from you, but guarding it for you, holding the timer, watching the seconds. His assignment is not to close the door when the time runs out. His assignment is to do everything in his power to get you through the door before it closes on its own. He is begging. That word is in the title because it is accurate. A being of his magnitude does not beg for trivial matters. The urgency in his voice matches the magnitude of what is stored inside the vault. And what is stored inside is significant enough that heaven deployed its highest warrior not to fight, but to plead. You are worth heaven stopping for. And heaven is stopped right now, holding a door open, counting seconds, waiting for you. What I reveal next is why you have been missing these moments, and it is not the reason you think. Type stopped if you just felt the weight of knowing that heaven has been trying to reach you. And this is the first time you actually stopped long enough to listen. I have been watching you walk past open vaults for longer than this one, and each time it grieved me in ways you cannot imagine. Not because you were rebellious, not because you intentionally rejected what I was offering, because you were moving so fast that the door was invisible to you. Your pace, the speed at which you consume, scroll, process, and discard, has created a kind of spiritual motion blur, where sacred moments and ordinary moments look identical when you pass them at the velocity you have been traveling. You have been too fast for your own blessings. And the blessings have been waiting for you to slow down. I watched you 3 weeks ago when a moment crossed your path that was meant to change the direction of your entire season. It arrived disguised as an ordinary afternoon. No trumpets, no angels visible, just a quiet opening, a thought, a prompting, a pull towards something you almost followed but then dismissed because it did not match the dramatic packaging you expected divine moments to arrive in. That was a vault door, and you walked past it. I watched you last month when a message tried to reach you, not unlike this one, and your thumb moved before your spirit could override it. Skip, scroll. Next, the motion was so automatic that the decision was not even conscious. Your body executed the pattern before your soul had a chance to intervene, and the vault that was opened during that message closed 3 seconds after you scrolled past it. I have been watching this cycle with a patience that is running up against an urgency, because this vault, the one that is open right now, contains things I cannot store indefinitely. Not because I lack the power, because the things inside are time-sensitive, blessings that are connected to specific seasons, answers that correspond to specific prayers you are currently praying, restoration that is calibrated to the exact emotional position you are in today, not the position you will be in next year. This vault was built for today's version of you, and today's version of you is the only one who can collect what is inside. Type today if you are realizing that God has been opening vaults for you that you walked past without knowing, and this is the first time you are standing still long enough to see the door. I know why you have been moving so fast, and it is not because you are busy. You are numb. The speed is not productivity. It is anesthesia. You have been moving at a velocity that prevents you from feeling the full weight of what has been sitting on your chest for months. The disconnection, the spiritual silence, the growing distance between you and a God you still believe in, but can no longer clearly hear. If you slow down, you feel it. If you stop, you are overwhelmed by it. So you keep moving, keep scrolling, keep consuming, keep filling every second with noise, so that the silence where my voice used to live does not become unbearable. The speed is not ambition, it is avoidance. I saw when the numbness started. It did not arrive suddenly. It crept in, one missed moment at a time, one skipped prompting after another, one dismissed nudge followed by another, each one so small that the loss was imperceptible, like removing one grain of sand at a time from a pile. You do not notice the reduction until one day you reach for the pile and your hands close on almost nothing. Your spiritual sensitivity was stolen one grain at a time, and you did not notice until the pile was nearly gone. I watched you try to pray last week and feel nothing. Not emptiness exactly, worse, flatness. The terrifying flatness of speaking to a God you believe exists but cannot feel present. Your words went out and nothing came back. No warmth, no confirmation. No gentle impression that someone on the other side was leaning in to listen. Just the sound of your own voice in a room that used to be full and now echoes. That echo has been haunting you, and you have not told anyone about it because admitting that you cannot feel God feels like admitting that God left. But I did not leave. You accelerated past the frequency at which my voice operates. I have been speaking at the same volume. You have been moving at a speed that converts my whisper into silence. I am not silent. You are too fast. And right now, in this moment, you finally stopped. The part that has been breaking you quietly is the suspicion that you are not worth heaven stopping for. You would never say it out loud. You would never type it in a prayer. But it lives inside you, this low, persistent, corrosive belief that divine urgency is reserved for people who are more spiritual, more faithful, more worthy of the kind of moment where an archangel is deployed and a vault is opened, and the timer of heaven begins counting down for one specific person. You do not believe you are that person, and that disbelief has been the lock on every vault I have opened for you. I watched you hear messages like this before and immediately begin the internal dismissal. This is for someone else. This is for the person who prays 3 hours a day. This is for the one who has not missed a single divine appointment. Not for me. Not for the one who scrolls past sacred moments and cannot feel God in prayer and has been running on spiritual fumes for longer than they want to admit. That dismissal is the most effective weapon the enemy has ever used against you, because it does not attack your faith in me. It attacks your faith in your own address. You believe I open vaults. You believe I store blessings. You believe I deploy angels with urgent assignments. You just do not believe I do it for you. And that specific unbelief, the kind that accepts God's power in general but rejects God's attention in particular, has caused you to walk past more open doors than any other single factor in your spiritual life. Your unworthiness has been the enemy's master key, and he has used it on every vault. Every time heaven opened a door specifically for you, the unworthiness whispered, "Not for me," and your feet kept moving. Not because the door was not real, because you could not conceive of a God who would open a vault of that magnitude for a person of your current spiritual condition. But I did open it. I am opening it right now. For you, specifically. And the timer does not care about your self-assessment. Type for me if something inside you is breaking right now, because you are starting to believe for the first time that this vault, this message, this moment was not for someone better. It was for you. The vaults you missed were not wasted. They were rescheduled into this one. I need you to release the guilt before it becomes another reason to walk past the door. The moments you scrolled past, the promptings you dismissed, the sacred openings you moved through at a speed that prevented reception. You have been accumulating a quiet shame about those missed moments, a growing internal record of divine appointments you failed to keep. And that shame has been compounding the unworthiness that was already keeping you from stepping through. But I do not operate on a system of expired blessings. Every vault you walked past, every blessing that sat uncollected behind a door that closed before your feet stopped moving, I did not discard those contents. I transferred them, consolidated them, merged them into a single vault that carries the combined weight of every missed moment from every season you moved through too quickly to receive what I was offering. This vault is not one blessing. It is the accumulation of many. The prayers you prayed 3 years ago that seemed to produce nothing. The answers were placed in a vault you walked past that November. The restoration you have been asking for since last spring. It was ready in a vault that opened during a moment you scrolled through without pausing. The clarity you have been desperate for. It was stored behind a door that was open for 11 seconds during a conversation you were too distracted to fully engage with. All of it has been transferred here, to this vault, this moment, this door. I did not punish you for missing those openings. I loved you through them. And my love does not respond to missed moments with permanent withdrawal. It responds with consolidation, gathering everything that was prepared across multiple windows into a single window so overwhelming in its contents that even a heart as numbed as yours cannot walk past it without feeling the gravitational pull of everything that has been waiting. You are feeling that pull right now. It is not guilt. It is the weight of accumulated blessing pressing against the vault door from the inside, desperate to reach the one it was stored for. The vault door just widened, and I need you to feel what is happening on the other side of it. Something shifted the moment you decided to stay with this message, instead of scrolling past it. The timer did not change, but the door responded. It recognized the presence of the person it was opened for. The mechanism that controls the vault is not purely mechanical. It is relational. The door widens when the intended recipient draws near, and you just drew nearer to this vault than you have been to any divine opening in months. The vault knows you are here, and it is responding. Behind the door there is movement, not the stillness of a storage room collecting dust, the active, living, breathing movement of blessings that have been waiting so long for the person they belong to, that their anticipation has become a force of its own. Answers to prayers that were spoken so long ago you forgot you prayed them, fully formed, fully prepared, pressing against the inside of the vault door, the way a river presses against a dam. The dam is about to break, and what flows out is years of stored provision. I have been arranging the contents of this vault behind the scenes of your life, while you were too numb to notice the preparation. Financial repositioning that you interpreted as loss was actually heaven clearing space in your hands so they would be empty enough to carry what the vault contains. Relational shifts that felt like abandonment were actually the removal of people whose presence would have blocked the vault door from opening fully. Every confusing removal was preparation for this reception. And what is building behind that door right now carries a pressure that is almost unsustainable. Not because the vault is unstable, because the volume of what I have stored for you was never designed to be contained this long. It was designed to be delivered across multiple openings. But you missed those openings. So the contents accumulated, and accumulated blessings build pressure. What I reveal next is the timer itself, how much time remains, and what happens when you step through. Type widening if you felt something shift the moment you chose to stay with this message, and you believe the vault door is responding to your presence right now. Heaven's door is closing, and the reason it was opened today is directly connected to the title of this message and the specific season you are standing in right now. This is not a random vault opened at a random time. The alignment required for this particular door to unlock has been building across months of your life. Months where you felt nothing was happening. Months where the spiritual silence was so total that you began to question whether the connection was permanently broken. But the silence was not disconnection. It was configuration. Heaven was positioning internal tumblers, circumstantial, emotional, spiritual, into the exact sequence required to unlock a vault of this magnitude. The silence was the lock being assembled. Today is the day it clicked open, and the reason this message carries the urgency it carries, the reason Archangel Michael was deployed, the reason the language is begging rather than suggesting, the reason every word is charged with a desperation that you can feel pressing against your chest, is because heaven knows something about you that you do not know about yourself. You are closer to walking away from God than you have ever been. Not dramatically, not with a declaration of unbelief or a conscious decision to abandon faith. The quiet kind, the kind where the numbness gradually replaces the connection, and the scrolling gradually replaces the seeking. And one day you realize you have not genuinely engaged with a divine moment in so long that the concept of God speaking to you personally feels like something that happens to other people in a category you no longer occupy. You were drifting toward that threshold, and this vault is the intervention. I did not open this door because your spiritual performance earned it. I opened it because love for you reached a point where watching you drift one more inch toward disengagement became something I was no longer willing to allow. The vault was opened by desperation, not yours, mine. I am the God who cries for his children, and the tears that prompted this vault were shed for you specifically. The timer is in its final stretch, and I can feel your feet beginning to move toward the door. Something has changed in you since you started listening. The speed has decreased. The numbness has thinned. The motion blur that has been preventing you from distinguishing sacred moments from ordinary ones is clearing. And for the first time in months, you are seeing something with spiritual clarity. You are seeing the vault. You are seeing the door. You are seeing the timer. And you are feeling the pull of everything inside it, calling your name with a voice you almost forgot existed. Your spiritual hearing is coming back online, right now, in real time. I need you to feel how close you are to the threshold. Not close in the way you have been told before, the vague spiritual closeness that dissolves by morning. Structurally close. The distance between your current position and the open vault door can be measured in a decision, not a process, not a journey. A single decision to step forward instead of stepping back. One step and you are inside. Archangel Michael is standing at the door watching you approach. His hand is on the timer, his eyes are on your feet, and the expression on his face is not the stern authority of a warrior executing a mission. It is the desperate hope of a being who has watched you walk past open doors more times than any angel should have to witness, and is holding this one open with everything he has because he knows what is inside, and he knows what it will mean for your life if you receive it. He cannot step through for you. No angel can. The vault responds only to the person whose name is written on its contents, and your name is on everything inside. The timer is counting. Your feet are moving. The door is still open. The next thing I speak over you is the moment you cross the threshold, and what the first thing your hands touch inside the vault will be. Type threshold if you can feel yourself approaching the door right now, closer to receiving from God than you have been in months, and you are not going to let this moment pass like the others. You just stepped through the door, and the timer stopped the moment your foot crossed the threshold. It is done. You are inside. The vault that was opened by heaven's hand, held by an archangel's urgency, and ticking down toward a close that would have sealed everything away for another season. That vault has received its intended occupant. The timer was never counting down to closure. It was counting down to you. And the moment you entered the mechanism, recognized its owner, and the countdown became unnecessary. The door did not close behind you. It sealed. With you inside, I need you to feel what is surrounding you right now. This is not an empty room with a few blessings sitting on shelves. This is a space so full that the air itself carries weight. The accumulated density of every prayer you ever spoke, every tear you ever cried, every desperate whisper that you released into the dark, wondering if anyone on the other side was listening and storing and preparing a response. I was listening, and everything I prepared is here. The first thing your hands are touching is the answer to the oldest prayer you carry. The one you prayed so long ago that you stopped expecting it. The one you filed under things God chose not to answer because the silence lasted years, and the years convinced you that no response was coming. The response was completed the month after you prayed it. It has been sitting in this vault, waiting for the moment when the person who prayed it would stand still long enough to receive it. You are standing still right now, and the answer is in your hands. This is what heaven has been crying for, not in disappointment, not in frustration at your slowness, in longing. The unbearable longing of a God who completed the response years ago and has been watching his child scroll past, skip past, and walk past every door that led to the room where the answer was waiting. You stopped scrolling, you stopped skipping, and you walked through the door. Heaven is not crying anymore. Heaven is exhaling. Now that you are inside the vault, every second you remain here activates another layer of what was stored for you. The first layer activated the moment you crossed the threshold. The immediate blessings, the surface-level answers, the things that were positioned closest to the door, because they were needed most urgently. Those are already being released into your life. You will feel their effects within days, not weeks, days. Because the urgency of the timer was matched by the urgency of the contents. These blessings were time-sensitive, and their deployment begins the instant the intended recipient steps inside. But the vault is deeper than the first layer. Behind the immediate blessings, there is a second chamber, the one containing things you stopped praying for. Not because they were unimportant, because praying for them became too painful. The dream you buried, the relationship you grieved, the calling you set down, because the weight of carrying it without confirmation was crushing something inside you. Those things were not buried by heaven when you buried them in your heart. They were preserved, transferred to the second chamber of a vault that would only open when you finally stopped long enough to enter. You are walking into the second chamber right now, and behind that there is a third, the deepest section, the one containing things you never prayed for because you did not know they existed, blessings you could not imagine, assignments you could not conceive, connections you could not have predicted, things that I designed for you before you had the vocabulary to request them, stored in the deepest part of the vault because they require the deepest level of reception. Each second you remain in this message activates another layer. This is why skipping was so dangerous. It was not just one blessing at risk. It was a multi-layered vault containing surface answers, buried dreams, and unimaginable assignments, all activated by the presence of the one person they were stored for. Your presence is the activation key, and you are present for the first time in months. Type activated if you can feel layers of blessing beginning to unlock inside you right now. Things you prayed for, things you stopped praying for, and things you never knew to ask for, all responding to the fact that you finally stepped through the door. Let me show you what your life looks like now that you are standing inside the vault instead of walking past it. The first thing that changes is the hearing. Your spiritual ears, the ones that went numb from months of speed and distraction and the slow erosion of missed moments, are recalibrating right now to the frequency of my voice. Not gradually, rapidly, because the vault operates at a frequency that restores what the world's noise damaged. The moment you entered this space, your internal receivers began resetting to their original sensitivity. You are going to hear me again, clearly, consistently, starting today. The disconnection that has been your greatest source of private grief, the inability to feel my presence, to sense my direction, to distinguish my whisper from the noise of your own thoughts. That disconnection was not permanent damage. It was frequency displacement. You were tuned to the wrong channel, and the vault contains the recalibration that restores the original signal. Within days, you will feel something you have not felt in months, the unmistakable warmth of being heard when you pray. The spiritual emptiness that drove your speed, the hollowness that made you scroll faster and consume more and fill every silence with distraction, because the silence had become unbearable, that Emptiness is being filled right now from the reserves of this vault, not with information, not with content, with presence. The tangible, weighted, undeniable presence of a God who is not distant, but was simply waiting on the other side of a door you kept walking past. You do not have to generate that presence through effort. You stepped into it. Your mornings are going to change. The flatness that greeted you, the mechanical waking up without any sense of purpose or divine partnership, is being replaced by an awareness that was stored in this vault specifically for the season you are currently living in. You will wake up knowing you are not alone, and that knowing will change the temperature of every day that follows. People are going to encounter you and feel something they cannot explain, because the vault changes what you carry into every room. A person who has stepped inside a divine vault and received what was stored for them does not walk the same way. They do not speak the same way. They do not enter rooms at the same frequency. Something in the atmosphere around them shifts, not because they are performing anything different, but because the contents of the vault are now active inside their system, radiating outward through every interaction, every conversation, every moment of presence. You are going to carry a weight that the world cannot source, and people will feel it. Connections that your numbness was blocking are going to begin forming. The speed you were traveling at was not just preventing you from receiving divine moments. It was preventing people from reaching you. The right relationships require a frequency match, and you have been broadcasting at a frequency distorted by distraction and spiritual static for so long that the people designed for your next season could not locate your signal. Your signal just cleared, and they are already turning toward it. Opportunities that were contingent on your spiritual realignment are going to begin presenting themselves. There are assignments in the vault that come with built-in provision. Doors that open not because you knocked, but because stepping into the vault activated a sequence of events that were preloaded to fire the moment the intended recipient arrived. Those events are firing right now, and you did nothing to trigger them except stop. Creative ideas that dried up during the numb season are going to flood back with a force that startles you. The vault contains seeds of vision that I planted for you years ago. Ideas that require a connected spirit to germinate. Your spirit just reconnected, and the seeds are already responding to the restored moisture of a soul that is no longer running on empty. Your life after the vault does not resemble your life before it, and the people around you will be the first to confirm it. Type signal if you believe that stepping into this vault just cleared a frequency inside you, and the right people, opportunities, and ideas are already beginning to locate you for the first time in months. I need you to understand why this vault has your name on it, and why heaven deployed its highest warrior to make sure you did not miss it. Not every vault requires an archangel. Not every opening demands this level of divine urgency. Most blessings are delivered through gentle promptings and quiet nudges that reach the recipient without supernatural intervention. But your vault was different. The contents inside it are different, and the person it was built for is someone whose pattern of missing sacred moments had become so deeply embedded that ordinary delivery methods could no longer penetrate the layers of speed and numbness and unworthiness that were blocking reception. I sent Michael because nothing less would have reached you, and I chose you for this vault, not the version of you that prays perfectly, not the future version that you imagine is more deserving, not the theoretical version that never scrolls past a divine moment. I chose the current version, the numb one, the fast one, the one who has been running on spiritual fumes and cannot remember the last time a prayer felt like a two-way conversation. That is the version I opened the vault for, specifically, because this vault was not designed for people who do not need it. It was designed for the person who needs it most desperately and believes they deserve it least. That contradiction, desperate need paired with deep unworthiness, is the exact spiritual profile this vault was engineered to serve. Your unworthiness did not disqualify you. It qualified you. I chose you because the depth at which you feel your own disconnection tells me the depth at which you were originally connected. A person who was never close to God does not grieve the distance. Only someone who once knew the frequency intimately can feel the pain of losing it. And the pain you have been carrying about the silence between us is not evidence that you drifted too far. It is evidence that you were close enough for the distance to devastate you. That closeness is still in you. The vault is restoring it, and no angel in heaven considers you too small for this moment. The thought that just surfaced in your mind is the same thought that has kept you outside every vault I have ever opened for you. It sounds like this. This is powerful, but it will not last. Tomorrow I will wake up and feel the same disconnection. The numbness will return. The speed will resume. And this moment, however real it feels right now, will become another spiritual high that faded before it could produce anything permanent. That thought is not a prediction. It is a pattern trying to reassert itself before the vault permanently displaces it. I need you to see the mechanics of what that doubt is actually doing. It is trying to convince you that the vault is temporary, so that you treat its contents casually, instead of receiving them with the permanence they carry. If the enemy can downgrade this moment from divine encounter to emotional experience, he wins, because emotional experiences fade and divine encounters restructure. This is not an emotional experience. This is a structural encounter. The vault does not produce feelings that evaporate by morning. It produces deposits, permanent, irreversible, spiritually binding deposits that are placed into the architecture of your life the moment you receive them. What you are receiving right now is not going to fade. It is going to settle into the foundation of who you are, into the framework of how you hear me, into the infrastructure of how you move through your days. You will not lose this by tomorrow. You will wake up standing inside it. And the second doubt, that you are not spiritually advanced enough to retain what the vault is giving you, is based on a misunderstanding of how vaults work. Vaults do not require advanced recipients. They require present ones. The only qualification for receiving the contents of this vault is being inside it when the contents are released. You are inside. The contents are releasing. And your spiritual resume was never part of the entry requirement. Type permanent if the doubt just tried to tell you this moment will fade by tomorrow. And you are rejecting that lie because what God is depositing inside you right now is structural, not emotional. While you were scrolling past every vault I ever opened, I was standing inside each one, waiting for you. Not outside, not at a distance, watching your feet move past the door and shaking my head in disappointment. Inside, standing among the blessings that were prepared for you, surrounded by the answers that carried your name, holding the restoration that was packaged for your specific wounds, waiting in a room full of everything you needed, while the person it was prepared for walked by without entering. That is what God's faithfulness looks like when the recipient is too fast to receive. I did not close those vaults in anger when you missed them. I did not redistribute their contents to someone more attentive. I stood inside each one until the timer expired. And when the door closed, I carefully transferred every item to the next vault, and the next, and the next, each time hoping that the next opening would be the one where your feet finally stopped. Your feet stopped today, and I am still here, still holding what I have been holding through every missed opening. The spiritual silence you experienced, The months where prayer felt like speaking into an empty room. That silence was not my absence. It was the sound of a God standing inside a vault on the other side of a door you had not yet walked through. My voice was not gone. It was contained, held inside a space that could only be heard by someone who entered it. You entered, and now you can hear me again. I need you to understand that my patience with you was never thin, not once, not during the fastest scrolling, not during the most distracted season, not during the moments where the numbness was so thick that divine moments bounced off you like rain off stone. My patience is not a reservoir that depletes with each missed opening. It is a river that increases with each one, because every vault you missed deepened my determination that the next one would reach you. This one reached you, and my patience has been rewarded by the sound of your feet inside the room. I know the exact moment you became numb, and I have been engineering this vault around that specific wound ever since. You think the numbness was gradual. It was not. There was a moment, a precise, identifiable, singular moment, where something inside you shifted from connected to protected, from open to sealed, from a person who could feel divine presence naturally to a person who had to work to feel anything at all. You may not consciously remember the moment, but your spirit does. And I have been designing the contents of this vault to address that exact fracture point with surgical precision. The vault knows where you broke, because I told it. I know the disappointment that triggered the seal, the specific prayer that went unanswered long enough to convince your heart that the safest posture was not openness but distance, the specific person whose departure created a silence so loud that it drowned out the frequency you were using to hear me, the specific loss that taught your system to interpret hope as a precursor to pain rather than a pathway to provision. Every content in this vault is calibrated to that specific wound. I know your scrolling patterns. I know the time of night you move fastest through content, because the darkness amplifies the numbness, and the speed becomes your only defense against feeling what the quiet hours try to surface. I know the specific thought that crosses your mind at 2 in the morning. The one that sounds like something is missing and is immediately followed by the reflex to pick up your phone and fill the space before the feeling can fully form. That something is not missing. It was stored in this vault waiting. And the God who knows the exact second your numbness began is the same God who designed a vault so precisely targeted to your specific disconnection that standing inside it does not just deliver blessings. It repairs the fracture that prevented you from receiving them in the first place. You are being healed and filled simultaneously, and both are permanent. Type fracture if God just identified the exact wound that caused your numbness, and you can feel the vault beginning to heal the specific place inside you where the disconnection started. Now that you are inside the vault, there is one thing I need you to do, and it will determine how much of what is stored here actually integrates into your life. Slow down, permanently, not just right now, not just during this message. The speed that prevented you from entering every previous vault must be retired as a lifestyle, because the contents of this vault are being installed into a system that was previously running too fast to hold them. If you return to the old velocity, the deposits will not have time to anchor. They will sit on the surface of your life instead of embedding into the foundation, and surface deposits are displaced by the first wave of distraction that hits. The blessings need time to root, and rooting requires stillness. When you finish this message, do not immediately reach for the next piece of content. Sit in the silence, not for hours, for minutes. 3 minutes of deliberate stillness after this message will anchor more of what the vault deposited than 3 hours of scrolling will retain. The silence is not empty anymore. It is the sound of a vault integrating its contents into a life that finally stopped long enough to receive them. Let the silence do its work. When a divine prompting arrives in the coming days, a nudge, a thought, a pull towards something you cannot logically explain, do not dismiss it. Do not file it under later. Do not scroll past it. That prompting is a vault content activating in real time. And every activation requires an immediate response. Not a perfect response, not a dramatic response, a present response. The willingness to pause and acknowledge that heaven just spoke. Your new discipline is not prayer marathons or spiritual performance. It is presence. Be where you are. Feel what you feel. Hear what you hear. And when the impulse to accelerate returns, when the old pattern of speed and numbness offers itself as a familiar comfort, recognize it for what it is. It is the reflex that kept you outside every vault I ever opened. The vault is inside you now. Protect it with the one thing that unlocked it, your willingness to stop. You made it inside the vault, and I need you to feel what this moment actually is. This is the moment heaven has been waiting for. Not the moment you became worthy. Not the moment you achieved the right spiritual frequency. The moment you stopped. That is all. The moment your feet ceased their relentless forward motion and your spirit, your tired, numb, beautiful, still believing spirit, turned toward a door it had been walking past for months and chose to enter. That choice made heaven weep, not with sadness, with relief. I want to thank you for something that your unworthiness will try to minimize. Thank you for stopping. Thank you for not scrolling past this message the way you scrolled past the others. Thank you for letting Michael's urgency reach through the numbness and grab your attention long enough for the vault door to register in your awareness. The Archangel was not begging because heaven is desperate. He was begging because heaven is in love. And love that has been holding a door open for months while the beloved walks past it over and over, reaches a point where it will do anything, deploy anything, say anything, risk anything to make the beloved stop. You stopped, and love exhaled. I need you to feel the warmth settling over you right now, not emotional heat, vault warmth. The specific temperature of a space that has been sealed and prepared and waiting for a body to enter it and receive its climate. You have been spiritually cold for months. The vault is not just filling you, it is warming you, restoring a temperature to your spiritual core that the numbness had been steadily reducing. Can you feel it? The thawing? Let it reach the places that froze over. Let it touch the parts of your faith that went rigid from disuse. Let it soften the walls your heart built when the silence lasted too long, and the only safe response seemed to be closing everything down. You are warm again, and the God who opened the vault is holding you inside it right now. Type weeping if you can feel heaven's relief settling over you in this moment, and you know that God was not crying in disappointment, but in longing for this exact second when you finally stopped and stepped inside. You are not the person who scrolls past sacred moments anymore. That identity, the distracted one, the numb one, the one who moved so fast through life that divine doors became invisible, and heaven's voice became inaudible, and every vault that was opened specifically for them closed uncollected. That identity was retired the moment your foot crossed this threshold, not gradually, completely. The way a vault seal shut behind the person it was waiting for, permanently, irreversibly, with the finality of a mechanism that has fulfilled its purpose. You are inside now, and inside changes everything. The unworthiness that whispered, "This is not for me," has been silenced by the evidence of your own presence inside a vault that only opens for the person whose name is written on its contents. Your name was on every item in this room. Your fingerprints were predicted into the lock. Your voice was the frequency the mechanism was calibrated to respond to. There is no argument left for unworthiness when the vault itself confirms your identity by opening at your approach. You are not too small for heaven's attention. You are the reason the vault exists. From this moment forward, you carry a different spiritual posture. Not the posture of someone who runs past divine moments, hoping to catch the next one. The posture of someone who has learned, through the near miss of almost walking past, the most important vault of their life, that stopping is the most powerful spiritual act available to a human being. You will not move at the old speed again, not because you cannot, because you now know what speed costs. Speed cost you years of uncollected blessings. Stillness just gave them all back in one moment. The vault is sealed with you inside it. The contents are integrating. The timer has stopped. The Archangel who held the door is standing guard now, not to keep you in, but to ensure that nothing from the outside disrupts the process that has already begun restructuring the foundation of your life. You are held, you are filled, you are heard, you are warm. And the God who cried for you to stop is the same God smiling right now, because his chosen one finally did. Subscribe to this channel, so that every time heaven opens a vault with your name on it, the message reaches you before the timer runs out. You are not someone who scrolls past sacred moments anymore. You are someone who stops, who enters, who receives. The next vault is already being prepared. And now that you know what the door looks like, you will never walk past it again. Type inside if you are leaving this message standing in the vault, permanently changed, permanently filled, permanently connected, knowing that you will never again be too fast, too numb, or too unworthy to receive what heaven opens specifically for you.